Hi, my name is Name. Allergies are very common in dogs, just like in humans. In fact, there's a lot of dogs that will come into the vet and they might have itchy ears. They might have hot spots. They might be losing hair. These recipes are also grain-free, gluten-free, and they only use 3 to 5 ingredients. So if you want to avoid giving your dog something that has a bunch of weird ingredients, then these are great options. And so that could be beef, or that could be chicken, that could be dairy, and it's important to use coconut milk because it has anti-inflammatory properties and it also helps with itching. Bananas also have potassium and vitamin C, and it also acts as a natural sweetener. The first one is the pumpkin cake. Pumpkin is a great source of vitamin A and fiber, and it also has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. Apple cider vinegar is also great for the coat, and it also helps with itching. Also, make sure you follow us on social media for more health and wellness tips. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. For this recipe, you're going to want to start off with 2 eggs, 1 cup of pumpkin puree, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and then 1 1/2 cups of oat flour. Okay? Now you want to make sure that you do not use the Bob S. Red Mill brand of oat flour because they actually had a recall. So you can find other brands online or at your local pet store. Once you have all of those ingredients in a bowl, you're going to mix them together until it looks like batter. Then you're going to pour it into a greased 8x8 baking pan. And then you're going to want to bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes. Once it's done baking, you want to let it cool down before you frost it. For the frosting, you're going to want to take 1/2 cup of coconut oil, 1/4 cup of water, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Once you have all of those ingredients in a bowl, you mix them together until it looks like frosting, and then you want to frost the cake, and then you want to let it sit in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes before you cut it up. You want to cut it up into small pieces because you do and want your dog to choke on it. Once you cut it up, you can serve it to your dog, and you can store the rest of it in the refrigerator for up to a week. This recipe makes about 12 pieces, and each piece has about 100 calories in it. You're going to want to get a container of full fat coconut milk. Coconut oil is a great moisturizer for dry skin, and it also helps with itching. For this recipe, you're going to want to start off with 2 large sweet potatoes, 1 ripe avocado, 1/4 cup of coconut oil, and then 1 1/2 cups of oat flour. Now again, you want to make sure that you do not use the Bob S. Red Mill brand of oat flour because they actually had a recall. So you can find other brands online or at your local pet store. Once you have all of those ingredients in a bowl, you're going to mix them together until it looks like batter. Pan, and then you're going to want to bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes. Once it's done baking, you want to let it cool down before you frost it. For the frosting, you're going to want to take 1/2 cup of coconut oil, 1/4 cup of water, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Once you have all of those ingredients in a bowl, you mix them together until it looks like frosting. This recipe makes about 12 pieces, and each piece has about 100 calories in it. Do not use the light version because that has a lot of weird ingredients in it. You want to make sure that it's full fat and it's just coconut. And then you're going to want to mash up a banana, and then you're going to want to mix it with the coconut milk. Once you have it mixed together, you're going to want to pour it into a shallow container, and then you're going to want to freeze it. Once it's frozen, you're going to want to take a knife, and you're going to want to cut it up into bite-sized pieces, and then you're going to want to put them in a bag, and you can give them to your dog throughout the day. This recipe makes about 16 pieces, and each piece has about 8 calories in it. But what it is, you need to work with your vet to figure out what exactly is causing the allergies. Oatmeal is also a great source of fiber, and it helps soothe the stomach. Now you want to make sure that the oatmeal that you use is steel-cut or old-fashioned rolled oats. You do not want to use instant oats because it has a lot of weird ingredients in it. For this recipe, you're going to want to start off with 1 pound of cooked salmon, 1 cup of quick cooking oats, 1 egg, and then 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Mix all of those ingredients together, and then you roll it out to be about a 1/2 inch thick. After you have even pieces, you roll them out, and then you cut them up. You can either cut them up in squares, or you can use cookie cutters to get fun shapes. Once you have them cut up, you going to want to put them on a baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper, and then you going to want to bake them at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 to 40 minutes. Again, you want to keep an eye on them because every oven is different and you do want them to burn. Once they're done baking, you want to let them cool completely before you give them to your dog, and then you can store them in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. This recipe makes about 24 pieces, and each piece has about 45 calories in it. Now, sweet potatoes are a great source of fiber and vitamin A, so this is a great treat if your dog has allergies and you're trying to help their skin out. Peanut butter is also great because it has healthy fats and protein, and it also helps with itching. Now, peanut butter can have some allergies by itself, but if you take a look at the ingredients, the only ingredient should be peanut butter. If it says on the label that it has something else, then you definitely do not want to give that to your dog. But once you know what it is, and you cut that out of their diet, sometimes they'll grow out of it. Sometimes they don't. But you can also add in some things to help them out, while you avoiding what they allergic to. And one of the first things that we'll check for is allergies. One way to help your dog out with their allergies is to try to avoid what they allergic to. So what I'm going to talk about today are some recipes that you can make at home that do not have the ingredients that typically cause allergies, which would be things like wheat, corn, soy, beef, chicken, dairy. The first recipe I'm going to talk about is the sweet potato and peanut butter cookies. For this recipe, you want to start off with 2 cups of peeled and mashed sweet potatoes. You add 1/4 cup of water, and then you add 1/2 cup of peanut butter. You want to roll them out kind of thin because you do and want to bake them too long. The last thing you want is for your dog treats to burn, so you want to keep it really, really thin. Once you have them rolled out, you're going to want to put them on a baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper. And then you're going to want to bake them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to want to bake them for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now you want to keep an eye on them because ovens vary, and the last thing you want is for them to burn. Once they're done baking, you want to let them cool completely before you give them to your dog. Otherwise, you're just going to burn their mouth. This recipe makes about 10 to 12 cookies, and each cookie has about 45 calories in it. Another great recipe is the frozen yogurt and banana bites. We use coconut milk in this instead of dairy. Next up is the salmon and oatmeal treats. Salmon is a great source of omega-3 fatty acids, and it helps with a lot of inflammation. All right, so now we're moving on to some cake recipes. The next recipe is the sweet potato cake. Sweet potatoes are a great source of fiber and vitamin A, and it also helps with skin allergies. If you enjoyed these recipes, I have a lot more on my blog, so make sure you check it out.